Now guys, we are going to understand some more things, like for example what are selectors in CSS. So selectors are actually again the same thing. It's ID selector and this is the class selector. Okay, so if anyone of you might be confused what is the selector, selector is actually, this is the class selector and this is the ID selector and this is normal just an element selector. That's it, that's what I mean. Okay, so now let's continue. One more thing guys, that's how you can actually make a comment, but the shortcut here is if you select this part and you press control and slash, forward slash. Okay, the forward slash is the slash which is available with question mark. I'm talking about this slash. Okay, I'm talking about this slash. Okay, so that's how you can actually make a comment. For example, if you had multiple lines of code, if I just copy this and if I paste it here, you can see I have some multiple lines of codes. Okay, so you can see I have multiple lines of code. So if you want to comment them all together, you can just select them all together, then control and forward slash. So this is the shortcut, easiest shortcut. You can use it to make comments. Now what is the comment? Comment is again, you can see if I just make it as a comment, that means I am still having this code, but this code is not executed. That means it's just for your reference. You can write anything here, it won't be executed. That's it. Okay, now guys, we also talked about color. So you can see if I want to give any color, so you can see this is the text color. So one format which we have actually given here is actually the red color. That means just the color name, but we have a lot of formats here. First of all, you can see this is the RGB format. So RGB format is there. So if I actually say that, for example, if I say that suppose I want to give this color, so you can see this is the RGB color. Okay, similar to this color might have some name, but not all colors actually have the name. Okay, so this is having some specific RGB value. Okay, so you can see this is the color value. Similar to this RGB, we have one more format, that is the hashtag format. Okay, so this is the hashtag format. Then similar to this guys, we have one more format. You can see this is the HSL format, similarly HWB format, then again RGB format, but you would be mostly using RGB and hashtag format. Okay, so both are exactly same, just the way of writing is different. So whatever suits you, and in most cases it doesn't matter. You just need to give the color and just need to know the values. And I have always seen that people always give hashtags, and that's always great. This type of color format is always great. Okay, so now let's continue. And suppose if I want to give some opacity, for example, right now you can see this is the red color and I want to make it a bit transparent. So what you can do is you can actually decrease this. Okay, so this would actually make things transparent. Okay, so for example, if I say that your body, that is everything is written inside the body, right? So I would just say my body is having some dark color. To let me just show you how actually transparency works. So if I write body here, and again if I write background color is also a property which assigns background color to the element, not the text color. It assigns the background color to the element. So guys, here you can see it looks like this. I think it's better to give it some blue color, so then it would look fine. So you can see first of all it's having some kind of this color. Okay, so suppose if I just make it normal, so you can see that it looks like this. So if I suppose make it very less visible, so you can see it's still there, but the transparency is really less. Okay, so that's how you can actually give transparency along with this. Okay, so this is the easiest trick, and if you are worried, you can give it like this. Okay, so that's all about colors. That's how you can actually give properties to colors. And one more thing, if you want to give some property to the body, you have to target the body element. And one more thing, if you want to give common properties to everyone, so what you can do is, if you want to give common property, you can simply write star. Okay, star is for giving properties to all elements. So if I write star and then if I open brackets, and if I suppose say all elements would be having font size of 50 pixels. Okay, so by default all elements would be having font size of 50 pixel, but since I have hard coded the size of this h1 tag as 10 pixels, so only this h1 tag would be having the size of 10 pixel. For example, I'm also giving this h2 tag some font size, so it won't take the font size now of 50 pixel. It would take whatever font size we provide here. Okay, so if I say font size 100 pixels, so you can see this h2 is now having font size of 100 pixel. Rest others are having font size of 50 pixel, and this is having font size of 10 pixel. Okay, so I hope you understood what actually the root does. It would set default properties. Okay, so what is the default size of everything? Okay, but mostly you would be using it for properties like, for example, I don't want any margin and default, so I would say there won't be any margin. So this is the margin property which actually gives some margin. Okay, so if I write 20 pixel, So you can actually see I'm having some margin. Okay, if I write 20 pixel from top and bottom and 10 pixel from left and right, so this is actually 20 pixel from top and bottom. I want this much space, and this is actually 10 pixel. Okay, so that's it. So similar to this, guys, usually you would make it 0 only initially, and I would give it additionally. You can later on, you can give padding and margin to each. Okay, so I would later on explain what is margin and padding, but yeah, just understand that margin is you are talking from outside of the element, and padding is you are talking about inside of the element. That's it. Okay, so later on we'll explain more, but right now these are the margin and padding properties. Now we understood the colors. Okay, so now guys, first of all, we would also understand about the background property. So right now, for example, we have, I'll just comment these. Okay, I'll just comment these, and I would also comment these. And now I would simply create a division here. For example, we have a division. Okay, and I'll just say that my class for this is my div1. Okay, so my div1, and inside this, suppose we have a h1 tag, and this is a head. And similar to this, guys, I'm simply going to give a paragraph. So I'll just say that this paragraph is actually having lorem, and automatically it would take around 30 words. If once you write lorem, it would take around 30 words. So you can see that this is how it actually looks. So this is how it actually looks. So you can see that I have given some spaces. Okay, first of all, you can see it does not have any margin and padding. You can see it's really stuck with each other. Okay, so first thing which you can do is, I'll just explain what is margin and padding now. So for example, guys, if I talk about margin and padding, okay, so right now you can see it's 0. Okay, so I'll just say, for example, my div1 is having some background color. Okay, so now you would understand how margin and padding actually works. Okay, so this is having, suppose, some background color. So background color is what? I would just say background color is, suppose, for example, blue, violet. Okay, suppose this is the background color. So you can see right now it does not have any space. Now I want this to have some space from outside. So for that, what I can say is we want to give it margin. Okay, margin. Then I would say, suppose it takes 10 pixel from top and bottom and 20 pixel from left and right. So you can see that's how it actually works. If I increase it, if I make it 50, so you can see from left and right it would be taking that much space. So margin is actually from outside. You can see it's from outside the element. If I talk about padding, so if I say, if I give same amount of padding, again same amount of padding, that is 10 pixel from top and bottom and 50 pixel from left and right, so you can see padding is actually from inside. Okay, so that's the difference between margin and padding. Now I hope you won't get confused. Even if in future you get confused, you can rewatch this tutorial. Okay, so now after this I'm gonna talk about background color. So you can see first property is background color. Then there is one more background property which is actually like, for example, you have given it a background color. One more property which you use along with this is actually opacity. Okay, so you can actually say, first of all, opacity, and I would just say that opacity is around, I would just say 0. For example, if I write 0.5, so you can see it's less visible. If I make it 0.9, so you can see it's more visible. So if I make it 0.1, it's very less visible. Okay, so lesser means less visible, more means more visible. So the range is between 0 to 1. Okay, so I would just make it 0.4. so you can see it's like this. If I make it 0.7, it's a little bit less opacity, having less opacity, but it looks good. Okay, so you can see that's how you can actually give opacity to the whole element, fine. So now after this, guys, that's how you can actually give opacity, or the other format is you can just target the color, or you, and then you can just give some opacity. Okay, if you just want to give the opacity to the background color, you can actually do it like this. Okay, instead of this, now only the background would be having some opacity. You can see that the text is fully visible. Okay, so the background, if you just want to give the opacity to background, you can directly target it like this. Okay, so it's the easiest thing. Now guys, I want to explain one more thing, that is the background image. So guys, I have just pasted some image, and I'll do one more thing. I'll just name it as logo. Okay, suppose, for example, I want to show this image here. So one thing is you can use the img tag, and then you can show it in the HTML, right? But the second approach is actually you can do one thing, that is you can, for example, I just want to show the image inside this. Okay, suppose you can assume this was an img tag, so you can give the img src of that image. But if you want to give the image in CSS, what you can do is you can use the background image property. Okay, so right now I'll just comment this out. Okay, if I just comment this out, then I would just want to give a background image property. So if I just type background image, then you can write the URL. Okay, and inside this you need to write the exact path. So in the same folder I want logo.png. I hope it works. So you can see that now if I actually, I wanted to paste it inside, so Control X, and inside my PJ1, I would paste the image. Or if you have the image outside, for example, if you have the image outside, so if I just cut this again and if I just add the image outside, you can see that if the image was inside this folder, okay, if the image was actually, you can see that if the image was inside my pj1, then this would actually work, but you can see that the image is actually outside my pj1. So what you can actually do is you can simply say go one folder above, then you can see I get suggestion also. So if I write this and if I reload this, actually I have to go live again, and then you can see I have got the image in the background. Okay, so that's how you can actually do things here. So that's how you can actually give any image in the background. Okay, so this is the method. Now guys, after this we have one more thing. For example, if I say that the height of this is, for example, um 500 pixel. Okay, so you can see I've given this as 500 pixels. So you can see that the image is actually repeating. So we have actually got another property named as background repeat, and you can see you have all the things here, so you can try them on your own, but I'll just show you no repeat. So you can see this is no repeat. Okay, so that's how it actually works. Now similar to this, you can use repeat x, that means only for x-axis it would repeat, similarly for y-axis it would repeat, like that. Then guys, we have one more property named as background attachment. So if I write background attachment, and then if I type scroll, so you can see if I just say that the height is 2500, so if I make it fixed, so you would see that this is actually fixed. So you can see this is actually fixed. So if scroll means it would scroll with the page, if you make it fixed, so you can see background is actually fixed. Okay, so in some websites you might have seen that the image is fixed and then the only the content moves. So it looks really cool, and you can actually achieve this by simply using the property named as background attachment.